Right now, there's a plastic fin on your car's roof. You've seen it 1,000 times. You've probably never thought about it. Here's the thing. It's not one antenna. It's up to 14. GPS, cellular, satellite radio, Wi-Fi, emergency calls, all crammed into something the size of your hand. And the reason it sits on your roof has nothing to do with style. Your car is a metal cage that blocks radio signals. That fin is the only part that sits outside. If you're old enough to remember the metal stick poking out of your dad's car, the one that bent sideways in every car wash, whistled at highway speed, and your neighbor's kids snapped off for fun, you already know why that design had to die. But here's what most people don't know. That old rod antenna did exactly one job. A M radio, maybe FM if you were lucky. One signal, one frequency, one purpose. Your car today needs to talk to GPS satellites orbiting 12,550 miles above your head. It needs a cellular connection for navigation, streaming, and software updates. It needs satellite radio, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and in newer models, it needs to talk to other cars on the road, and to traffic lights, and to emergency responders. One rod antenna can't do that. You'd need 5 or 6 metal sticks poking out of your roof. Nobody wants that. And nobody wanted to admit the real problem, the one that explains why the fin sits exactly where it does. That shark fin isn't an antenna. It's a communication command center, and it's mounted on your roof because your car is trying to block it. The car antenna has been evolving since the 1930s. Back then, car radios were brand new, and the antennas were built right into the radio itself. AM signals were strong enough that you didn't need anything outside the car. That changed fast. As FM radio spread in the 1940s, cars needed external antennas, straight rods bolted to the fender or the hood. By 1937, the whip antenna had become the standard. Flexible steel wire, mounted through a drilled hole, sealed with a rubber gasket. Simple, cheap. And it worked, for one job. For decades, that was enough. The antenna was so much a part of American car culture that people started decorating them. At the 1962 World's Fair, the gas station chain Union 76 introduced a bright orange ball with their logo, designed to sit on top of your car's antenna. It became one of the most iconic antenna toppers in history. At its peak, making and selling antenna toppers was a surprisingly big business. Those little foam balls wobbling on every car in every parking lot, that's how central the whip antenna was to car design. But the whip antenna had real problems. It bent. It rusted. It whistled at highway speed. Vandals loved it. So as early as the mid-1950s, luxury brands started hiding them. Motorized telescoping antennas that could slide up when you needed the radio and retract out of sight. Elegant until the motor broke. And it always broke. General Motors tried another approach in the 1970s, pressing tiny wires into the windshield glass. Clever idea, terrible execution. The repair costs were brutal, and reception was mediocre at best. By the 1980s, most cars had settled on a boring compromise. A short rubber stub on the roof. Better than a whip, worse than anything else. For 60 years, car companies kept trying to solve the same problem: how to receive radio signals without an ugly stick on your car. Then, BMW figured out the problem wasn't the antenna. It was everything the antenna couldn't do. In the early 2000s, BMW started putting a small, aerodynamic plastic housing on the roof of their cars. It looked like a dorsal fin, and it did way more than pick up radio. Inside that housing, something roughly the size of a deck of cards, engineers packed multiple printed circuit board antennas. AM and FM for broadcast radio, a GPS patch antenna for satellite navigation, a cellular modem for data connections, a Sirius XM receiver for satellite radio, and connectors for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Today, the most advanced shark fins can house up to 14 separate antenna elements. 14, in a space smaller than a paperback book. Each one tuned to a different frequency band, each one connected through its own coaxial cable running through the headliner down to different modules in the car. And that number is still growing. Industry reports project that next-generation connected vehicles could carry almost 30 antennas total. Some in the fin, some hidden in bumpers, glass panels, and body trim. In less than a century, the car went from one antenna for AM radio to a rolling wireless platform. And it's not just about cramming hardware into a small space. Each of those antennas operates on a different frequency: GPS at 1.5 GHz, cellular anywhere from 700 MHz to 5 GHz, satellite radio at 2.3 GHz, Wi-Fi at 2.4 or 5 GHz. Getting all of them to work in a space that small without interfering with each other is one of the hardest RF engineering challenges in modern automotive design. But here's the part nobody talks about. The reason the fin sits on the roof isn't just about having a clear view of the sky. It's physics. Your car's metal body acts like something called a Faraday cage. Michael Faraday figured this out in 1836. Wrap a space in conductive metal, and electromagnetic signals can't get through. It's the same reason your phone signal drops in an elevator or a parking garage. The metal conducts electromagnetic energy around its surface instead of letting it pass through. Think about it this way. Your phone is inside the car, surrounded by a steel roof, steel pillars, and steel doors. It's like trying to catch raindrops inside a metal shed. Some get in through the windows, but most hit the roof and slide off. Now put that same phone on top of the shed out in the open. Completely different story. That's exactly what the shark fin does. Your car isn't a perfect Faraday cage. The glass windows let some signal through, but the metal body weakens radio signals enough to matter. The shark fin sits on top of the roof, outside that metal shell, with a clear view of the sky in every direction. It's the one spot on the car where GPS satellites, cell towers, and broadcast stations can all reach it without fighting through steel. Now here's where this gets serious. One of the antennas inside that fin might literally save your life. Since March 2018, every new car sold in the European Union must be equipped with eCall, an automatic emergency call system. When sensors detect a severe crash, an airbag deploys, the fuel pump shuts off, the system doesn't wait for you to dial a number, it acts on its own. Through the cellular antenna in your shark fin, it connects to emergency services and transmits your exact GPS location, your direction of travel, the time of the crash, and your vehicle type. Even if you're unconscious, even if your phone is destroyed, even if you're on a remote highway where no bystander would find you for hours. The system even has a backup battery, so it works when the car's own battery is destroyed in the impact. In the United States, GM pioneered this concept with OnStar back in 1996, the world's first embedded vehicle telematics system. Launched at the Chicago Auto Show, it turned the car antenna from a radio receiver into a lifeline. Today, Bosch alone has eCall technology installed in 42.5 million vehicles across more than 15 car brands, operating in over 60 countries. Studies estimate that eCall saves around 2,500 lives per year in the EU alone, primarily by cutting emergency response times by up to 50%. Those minutes matter. In a severe crash, the difference between a 15-minute response and an 8-minute response can be the difference between a recovery and a funeral. But the shark fin isn't done evolving. The next generation of cars won't just receive signals, or they'll talk back. Vehicle-to-everything communication, or V2X, is turning cars into nodes in a real-time network. Engineers call it a sixth sense for driving. Unlike cameras or radar, V2X can see around corners and through fog because it doesn't rely on line of sight. It relies on radio waves. Your car will warn the one behind it when you brake hard. Traffic lights will tell your car when they're about to turn red. Pedestrians with smartphones will show up on your dashboard before you even see them around a corner. All of it happening through the antennas on your roof within a range of up to 1,000 meters. In May 2026, General Motors announced they're replacing the traditional shark fin entirely. Their new connectivity hub module combines all the antennas, the radio hardware, the processor, the memory, and even the backup battery into one single unit mounted on the roof. No more separate control unit buried inside the cabin. No more 5 meters of coaxial cable losing signal strength between the roof and the dashboard. Everything in one place, at the best possible location for radio reception. The shark fin as we know it is already becoming something bigger. The little plastic fin on your roof was never decoration. It was the beginning of your car learning to communicate with satellites, with networks, with emergency services, and soon with every other car on the road. Oh no? And one more thing.
You can buy a fake shark fin on Amazon for $8. Solid plastic. No antenna, no function, just vibes. Thousands of people stick them on cars that already have real ones. So, does your car have a real shark fin or a decorative one? Pop the hood of your curiosity and check. And what surprised you most? The Faraday cage, the emergency calls, or that there are 14 antennas hiding in plain sight? Drop it in the comments.